The balloons were everywhere. Gold and white ones clustered in the corners of the community center, spelling out "Happy Retirement, Linda," in big metallic letters. My mom stood near the cake table, beaming as neighbors and old colleagues from the hospital lined up to congratulate her on 30 years as a nurse. At 62, she looked tired but happy, her silver hair freshly done, wearing the blue dress I'd bought her last Christmas. I was leaning against the wall near the kitchen, nursing a glass of cheap champagne and trying to be invisible. That's what I'd gotten good at over the years. Being the middle daughter, the one nobody really noticed unless they needed something. My older sister Michelle had moved to Seattle 8 years ago and barely called. My younger sister, Jennifer, though, she was here. Of course she was. Jennifer never missed an opportunity to be the center of attention. "Sarah, honey, why are you hiding back here?" My Aunt Carol appeared beside me, her perfume overwhelming in the small space. "Come mingle. This is your mother's big day." "I'm not hiding," I said, managing a smile. "Just taking a break. It's crowded." It wasn't that crowded, really. Maybe 50 people. But I'd spent the last 3 hours making sure everything ran smoothly, checking on the caterers, making sure Mom's friends had directions, coordinating the photo slideshow I'd put together. Jennifer had shown up 20 minutes before the party started, done her makeup in the bathroom, and immediately started posing for photos like she'd organized the whole thing. "Well, I think your sister is about to make a toast," Aunt Carol said, squeezing my arm. "Come on." I followed her reluctantly into the main room. Jennifer was standing by the microphone, her red dress perfectly fitted, her blonde hair cascading over her shoulders in waves that probably took her stylist 2 hours to create. She was the pretty one, the successful one. At 32, she'd already made a name for herself in real estate, always posting on social media about her latest luxury listing, her newest designer handbag, her fabulous life. "Can I have everyone's attention?" Jennifer's voice rang out, clear and confident. The room quieted down. "I want to say a few words about my amazing mom." I stood near the back, my champagne glass feeling heavy in my hand. Mom was smiling up at Jennifer with that look of pride she always had. The look I'd learned to stop expecting. "Mom, you've worked so hard your entire life," Jennifer said, her voice catching just enough to sound emotional but not enough to ruin her makeup. "You've sacrificed everything for us girls, and now it's finally time for you to rest. To enjoy your retirement. To maybe even travel a little. Right?" Everyone chuckled. Mom nodded, wiping her eyes. "Which is why I'm so excited to announce," Jennifer paused dramatically, "that I've been working on a surprise for you, Mom. As you know, you own that little rental house on Maple Street, the one Sarah's been living in." My stomach dropped. I set my champagne glass down on the nearest table. "Well, Mom, I've found you a buyer," Jennifer continued, her smile widening. "A cash buyer who's willing to pay $380,000. That's $40,000 over asking price. Can you believe it? With that money, you can finally take that trip to Italy you've always wanted. You can upgrade your car. You can actually enjoy your retirement instead of worrying about being a landlord." The room erupted in applause. People were hugging Mom, congratulating her. I saw my Uncle Frank clapping enthusiastically, shouting, "That's wonderful." Jennifer caught my eye across the room and gave me a pointed look. Then she added, speaking directly into the microphone, "Of course, this means Sarah will need to find a new place to live. But don't worry, Sarah. I know well, you're not exactly thriving financially, but I'm sure you can find an apartment somewhere. Maybe one of those older buildings downtown. I've heard they're fairly affordable if you're not picky." A few people laughed. Not mean laughter, exactly, but the kind that comes from awkwardness. The kind that says everyone knows something you don't want them to know. "And Sarah," Jennifer continued, her voice dripping with false sweetness, "I'm giving you 30 days notice. That's more than fair, right? Mom's been way too generous letting you stay there at such a low rent for so long. It's time for both of you to move on." I stood there, frozen. Every eye in the room was on me. Some people looked sympathetic. Others looked curious, probably wondering why a 5-year-old woman was still renting from her mother. A few looked judgmental, like they agreed with Jennifer that I was some kind of freeloader. Mom was smiling uncertainly, looking between Jennifer and me. "Well, honey," she said to me, her voice carrying in the suddenly quiet room. "I know this is sudden, but Jennifer's right. It's time. You're old enough to be on your own anyway, aren't you? And that money would really help me." My Aunt Carol, standing beside me, whispered, "Can you afford to move, dear? Do you need help finding a place? That's when something inside me just clicked. I'd been quiet for so long. I'd been the invisible daughter, the one who didn't make waves, the one who just handled things silently without expecting recognition or thanks. But standing there, being publicly humiliated at my own mother's retirement party, being discussed like I was a burden, a problem to be solved, something in me snapped. "Excuse me," I said quietly. Then louder, "Excuse me." The room quieted again. Jennifer was still holding the microphone, her smile faltering slightly. "I need to step outside for a moment," I said. "Make a quick phone call." Jennifer laughed. "Oh, don't be dramatic, Sarah. I know this is a shock, but you'll figure it out. You always do. That's what middle children are good at, right? Just quietly dealing with things." I didn't respond. I walked through the crowd, my heels clicking on the linoleum floor, and pushed through the double doors into the parking lot. The late afternoon sun was too bright, making me squint as I pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From anger. From years of being overlooked, underestimated, treated like I was barely getting by when the truth was so far from that. I scrolled through my contacts and hit dial. She answered on the second ring. "Sharon? It's Sarah Chen. We need to talk about the Maple Street property." Sharon Rodriguez was my lawyer, and she'd been handling my affairs for the past 3 years. She was also one of the few people who knew the full truth about my financial situation. "Sarah, hi," Sharon said. I could hear papers shuffling in the background. "What's up? Everything okay? I need you to send me the deed to 847 Maple Street. The original deed. Plus copies of all the payment records. And Sharon? I need them in the next 10 minutes. Can you email them to my phone?" There was a pause. "Are you sure? I thought you wanted to keep this quiet." "I did. But things have changed. Please, just send them." "Okay. Give me 5 minutes." I hung up and leaned against my car, trying to steady my breathing. Through the windows of the community center, I could see the party continuing. Jennifer was mingling, accepting congratulations like she'd just solved everyone's problems. Mom was smiling, probably already planning that Italy trip in her head. Neither of them had any idea what was about to happen. My phone buzzed. Sharon's email had arrived with 3 attachments. I opened the first one, a PDF of a deed. There it was in black and white. 847 Maple Street, purchased 3 years ago for $285,000, owner listed as Linda Chen. With a notation at the bottom that only lawyers would catch. Property purchased by Sarah Chen, trustee, held in trust for Linda Chen. The second attachment was a spreadsheet. 3 years of mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, repairs. Every single payment made from my account. Total. $147,000. The third attachment was even more interesting. Bank statements showing wire transfers from my account to St. Mary's Hospital. Medical bills for cancer treatment. Chemotherapy. Radiation, surgery. 3 years of bills that insurance didn't cover. Total. $86,000. I took a deep breath and walked back inside. The party was in full swing. Someone had turned up the music. People were eating cake. Jennifer was near the punch bowl, talking to a group of my mom's friends, probably telling them more details about her brilliant real estate deal. I walked straight to the microphone. My cousin Mike was next to it, and I tapped him on the shoulder. "Can I use this for a minute?" He looked surprised but handed it over. I tapped it twice, the sound echoing through the room. Conversations died down. Music stopped. People turned to look at me. "Hi everyone," I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "I'm Sarah, Linda's middle daughter. The one who's apparently been freeloading in my mom's rental property." A few nervous laughs rippled through the crowd. "I just want to clear up a few things before everyone goes home," I continued. "Jennifer, you mentioned that Mom owns 847 Maple Street. That she's been my landlord for the past few years. Is that right?" Jennifer's smile was tight. "That's right. And I found a buyer, so." "The thing is," I interrupted, "Mom doesn't own 847 Maple Street." The room went silent. Mom's face went pale. "What? Sarah? What are you talking about?" "Of course I own it. I've been collecting rent from you for 3 years. "You've been collecting rent?" "Yes," I said. $2,000 a month, which I've paid faithfully. "But Mom, do you remember 3 years ago when you got your cancer diagnosis?" Mom's hand went to her throat. "Of course I do, but what does that have to? Do you remember how stressed you were about money? How you told me you'd have to sell your condo to pay for treatment because insurance was only covering part of it? Yes, but then. Mom trailed off, confusion crossing her face. But then what, Mom? What happened next? She opened her mouth, then closed it. I don't know. Things just worked out. The bills got paid somehow. The hospital said my account was settled. I thought maybe insurance covered more than I thought, or maybe the hospital had some program. There was no program, I said quietly. I paid your medical bills, Mom. All of them. $86,000 over 3 years. The room erupted in gasps and whispers. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Sarah. No. You couldn't have. You don't have that kind of money. You're an accountant at a small firm, you barely make enough to. To what? To survive? Is that what you think? I held up my phone. I make $125,000 a year, Mom. I've been a senior accountant at Martinez and Associates for 6 years. I handle major corporate clients. I'm good at my job. Really good. Jennifer scoffed from across the room. That's impossible. If you made that much, why would you be renting? Because, I said, my voice hardening, 3 years ago, when Mom got sick, I bought 847 Maple Street and put it in her name. I thought it would give her security. A retirement nest egg. A property she could sell if she ever needed money. I didn't tell her because I knew she'd refuse the help. She'd say it was too much, that I should save for my own future. I held up my phone higher, showing the screen. This is the deed. Purchased by me, held in trust for Linda Chen. I've been paying the mortgage out of my own pocket every month. I've been paying the property taxes, the insurance, the repairs. And yes, I've been paying myself $2,000 a month in rent and depositing it right back into the mortgage payment account. Why would you do that? Mom whispered, tears streaming down her face now. Because you needed to think you were my landlord. You needed to think you were helping me by giving me a cheap place to live. It let you keep your dignity while I helped you. It was easier for both of us that way. The room was absolutely silent now. I could hear someone's phone buzzing in their purse, the hum of the air conditioning, nothing else. Jennifer's face had gone from red to white. You're lying. Show me the deed. Gladly. I walked over and handed her my phone. She stared at it, her fingers scrolling through the PDF, her expression changing from confident to confused to horrified. This can't be right, she muttered. Mom, you own this house. You told me you owned it. I thought I did, Mom said weakly, sitting down heavily in the nearest chair. Sarah, why didn't you tell me? I tried to, at first. Do you remember when I came to you right after your diagnosis? I told you I wanted to help with medical bills, and you refused. You said you'd figure it out yourself, that you'd sell your condo if you had to, that you didn't want me ruining my future by helping you. So I helped anyway, but quietly. My Aunt Carol spoke up from the crowd. Linda, you told me last year that you couldn't believe how lucky you were, that somehow your bills just kept getting paid. You said it was a miracle. It wasn't a miracle, I said. It was just me. Paying your bills. Making sure you could focus on getting better instead of going bankrupt. Jennifer was still staring at my phone. But the buyer. I already told him. I already promised him the house. He's putting down earnest money next week. Well, that's going to be a problem, I said calmly, because you can't sell a house you don't own. And Mom can't sell it either because she doesn't own it. I own it. It's mine. Sarah, Mom said, her voice breaking, I don't understand. If you own it, why did you let me think I was your landlord? Why did you let me think I had this property? Because I was planning to sign it over to you once the mortgage was paid off, I said. I had 2 more years of payments left. Then I was going to surprise you with it as a real retirement gift. A house you actually owned, free and clear. But apparently, Jennifer decided to speed up that timeline by selling it out from under both of us. I turned to face my younger sister. She was clutching my phone, her carefully applied makeup starting to run as tears mixed with mascara. Jennifer, did you even ask Mom if she wanted to sell? Or did you just assume you could make this decision for her? I was trying to help, Jennifer said, her voice small now. I thought Mom needed the money. I thought I was doing something good. You thought you'd get your real estate commission, I said flatly. 5% of $380,000 is $19,000. That's what you thought you'd get for selling Mom's property. That's not true. I was doing this for Mom. Were you? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you saw an opportunity to make money while making me look like a failure in front of everyone. Mom knows. Two birds with one stone. Aunt Carol stepped forward. Sarah, honey, I think maybe you should. Should what? Keep quiet? Keep being the invisible daughter who just handles everything behind the scenes. I've been doing that for 3 years, Aunt Carol. I've been paying Mom's medical bills, her property taxes, her insurance, fixing her roof when it leaked, replacing her water heater when it broke, all while everyone assumed I was barely scraping by. I turned back to the room. You want to know the truth? I could buy my own house tomorrow if I wanted to. I have $200,000 in my savings account. But I chose to spend my money taking care of my mother instead. And apparently, that makes me a freeloader. Mom was sobbing now, her hands covering her face. Some of her friends had gathered around her, rubbing her back, offering tissues. My Uncle Frank looked uncomfortable, shifting from foot to foot. I think we should all calm down, he said. Sarah, I'm sure your sister didn't mean. Didn't mean what? Didn't mean to humiliate me? Didn't mean to sell my property without my knowledge? Didn't mean to kick me out of my own house? It's not your house, Jennifer said suddenly, her voice sharp. You said you put it in Mom's name. That means it's hers. You gave it to her. So technically, she can sell it if she wants. Sharon would have told you that's not how trusts work, but I didn't bother explaining. Instead, I said, you're right, Jennifer. Technically, the house is in Mom's name. And Mom can try to sell it if she wants. But she'll find out pretty quickly that the mortgage is in my name. The insurance is in my name. The property taxes are paid from my account. And I'm the one listed as the trustee with full control over the property until I decide to relinquish that control. I looked at my mom. She was staring at me like she'd never seen me before. Mom, I'm not trying to hurt you. I never was. I was trying to help. But I can't keep doing this if it means I'm going to be treated like I'm worthless. Like I'm nothing. Like I'm just a burden everyone has to deal with. Sarah, Mom whispered, I never thought you were worthless. Didn't you? When's the last time you asked about my job? My life? When's the last time you called me just to talk, not because you needed something fixed or paid for? When's the last time you bragged about me to your friends the way you brag about Jennifer? The silence that followed was answer enough. I handed my phone to Sharon's paralegal Jake, who had apparently been at the party the whole time, eating cake in the corner. I hadn't even noticed him. Jake. Can you pull up that other document for me? He nodded, taking my phone and tapping a few times. Then he walked over and showed the screen to my mom. This is a document I had Sharon draw up last year, I explained. It's a formal transfer of the property into your name, free and clear, no strings attached. I was going to give it to you today, actually. As a retirement gift. But I wanted to finish paying off the mortgage first. Mom looked at the document, then at me. You were going to give me the house? Yes. In 2 years when it was paid off. But clearly, that was a mistake. Clearly, I should have just told you the truth from the beginning instead of trying to protect your pride. Sarah, I didn't know, Mom said, standing up. How was I supposed to know? You weren't. That was the point. I didn't want you to feel guilty or obligated. I just wanted you to be okay. I took a deep breath. But I can't do this anymore, Mom. I can't keep being invisible. I can't keep pretending I need help when I'm the one doing all the helping. Jennifer finally spoke, her voice shaking. So what now? You're just going to kick Mom out of her retirement nest egg? You're going to take the house back? No, I said quietly. I'm not going to take it back. But I am going to make some changes. I walked over to my mom and took her hands. They were cold and trembling. Mom, I'm going to finish paying off the mortgage. Then I'm going to sign the house over to you completely. No trust, no conditions, just yours. You can sell it if you want. You can keep it. You can do whatever you want with it. But I need something from you first. What? Mom asked, her voice barely audible. I need you to see me. Really see me. Not as the daughter who's struggling. Not as the one who needs help. But as the daughter who's been helping you all along. Mom burst into tears again, pulling me into a hug. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I should have asked more questions. I should have paid more attention. You were sick, I said softly, hugging her back. You were fighting cancer. You weren't supposed to have to pay attention to anything except getting better. But after? After I was in remission? Why didn't you tell me then? Because by then, the lie was easier than the truth. And because I liked feeling like I was taking care of you, even if you didn't know it. We stood there for a long moment, holding each other while the entire party watched in awkward silence. Finally, Mom pulled back and looked at Jennifer. Jennifer Marie, you need to apologize to your sister. Jennifer's jaw dropped. Me, apologize? Mom, I was trying to help you. You were trying to help yourself, Mom said, her voice firm in a way I'd rarely heard. You saw a commission. You saw a way to look good. And you threw your sister under the bus to do it. That's not fair. Isn't it? I asked. Tell me, Jennifer, when was the last time you helped Mom with anything? When was the last time you came over to fix something or drive her to a doctor's appointment or even just called to check in? Jennifer's face flushed. I'm busy. I have a career. So do I. But I made time. Girls, Mom said, holding up her hand, that's enough. Jennifer, you owe Sarah an apology. And Sarah, you should have told me the truth instead of letting me live in ignorance for 3 years. You're right, I said. I should have. I'm sorry for that. But I'm not sorry for helping you. Mom squeezed my hand. I know, baby. And I'm not sorry you helped me. I'm just sorry I didn't realize how much you were sacrificing. It wasn't a sacrifice, I said. You're my mom. The party had pretty much dissolved at that point. People were quietly gathering their things, saying goodbye to my mom in hushed voices. A few people came up to me and said things like, that was very generous of you, or your mother is lucky to have you. But mostly, people just wanted to escape the awkwardness. Jennifer left without apologizing. She grabbed her purse and walked out, her heels clicking angrily on the floor. Mom started to call after her, but I stopped her. Let her go. She needs time to process. Will she be okay? She'll be fine. Jennifer always is. As we cleaned up the community center, throwing away paper plates and deflating balloons, my mom kept looking at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Sarah, honey, I need to ask you something. What? Why accounting? You could have done anything with your brains. Why choose something so ordinary? I laughed. Mom, I make $125,000 a year. I work from home 3 days a week, I have great benefits, and I get to solve complex financial puzzles all day. It's not ordinary to me, it's perfect. But you never talk about it. You never seemed proud of it. Because every time I tried to tell you about work, you'd change the subject to Jennifer's latest real estate deal or Michelle's kids. After a while, I just stopped trying. Mom's eyes filled with tears again. I'm a terrible mother. You're not, I said, hugging her. You're just human. You made mistakes. We all did. What happens now? Now? Now we go forward. I'll finish paying off the house. You'll retire and actually enjoy it. And maybe we'll try to have a real relationship instead of this weird dynamic where I take care of you secretly and you don't notice. And Jennifer? I sighed. I don't know, Mom. That's up to her. I can't force her to see me differently. But I also can't keep letting her treat me like I'm nothing. We finished cleaning in silence, and then I drove Mom home to her condo. As I pulled into her driveway, she turned to me. The house, Sarah, I want you to keep it. Mom, I told you. No. Listen. I want you to keep it. Live in it. It's yours. You paid for it. You deserve it. I don't need the money from selling it. My pension is enough, especially now that I know I don't have a mortgage to pay. She smiled sadly. I thought I'd been paying that mortgage all this time from my savings. I was so proud of myself for being responsible. Turns out I was just depositing your money right back into your account without realizing it. I couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, that was the plan. You're a good daughter, Sarah. The best. And I'm sorry it took me this long to realize it. That was 3 months ago. I still live in the house on Maple Street. The mortgage is almost paid off. Mom and I have dinner together every Sunday now, and we actually talk about real things. My job, her volunteer work at the hospital, books we've read, places we want to travel. Jennifer and I haven't spoken since the party. She sent me a text 2 weeks later that just said I guess congratulations on being the perfect daughter. I didn't respond. Maybe one day we'll fix our relationship, but I'm not holding my breath. Michelle called me from Seattle after Mom told her what happened. She cried and apologized for being absent. We've been talking more since then. She's planning to visit next month. The funny thing is, I don't regret keeping quiet for 3 years. I don't even regret the way everything came out. Sometimes the truth needs to explode before people can really hear it. Sometimes you need to break something before you can rebuild it properly. What I do regret is not believing in myself sooner. Not demanding to be seen. Not standing up and saying I'm valuable too before things got to the breaking point. But I'm saying it now. And finally, people are listening. Mom's retirement party didn't end the way anyone expected. There was no Italy trip funded by selling my house. There were no congratulations for Jennifer's business savvy. Instead, there was just the truth, messy and uncomfortable and necessary. And you know what? The truth, messy as it was, turned out to be the best retirement gift I could have given my mom. Not financial security. Not a paid-off house. But honesty. Real relationship. The chance to know her daughter as she actually was, not as she'd assumed her to be. That's worth more than any property deed. Though I'll admit, keeping the house is pretty nice too.